Hey everyone, you are listening to Beyond the Ring podcast. I am Tejas and this is the Extreme Rules 2021 review. And guys, before we get into this review, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more wrestling reviews and content like this. And do let me know your thoughts on this show in the comment section below. And let's get into this review then. So we kicked off the show with the kickoff show with Liv Morgan versus Carmella. It's better to speak not too much about this match because it was just nothing. Liv Morgan beat Carmella in just a few minutes or something, and it was more of Liv Morgan's offense than Carmella, and that was it. And we had the main show kicking it off with the match that wasn't announced, and this was announced in the prior to the kickoff show, in the kickoff show itself actually, and that was New Day, Biggie, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, and Omos. So that was a good way to involve the Biggie WWE champion, and that was kind of weird that they didn't involve that Biggie versus a Lashley match. That would have been one for to watch out, but they didn't involve it. As for the match, this was a really fun, a very fun tag team match. I really enjoyed this match, and yeah, lots of spots. We know how these multiple man matches works in WWE, so it was nothing very new or something, but it was nice. But the one thing that I wanted to speak about is in the ending of this match, we saw Biggie actually dodge this style springboard move, and Lashley tried to spear Biggie in that moment, and he moved and caused Lashley to spear Styles instead. And actually, I thought about that. Is Lashley making too much enemies because he has Goldberg as an enemy? He has Biggie. I mean, you can say Biggie is also rivalries going on, and then you have Styles as well. So is this a sign that AJ Styles could be the next challenger for the WWE Championship, or is he going for the going to SmackDown? I for one would be interested to see him going to SmackDown actually. But Lashley versus Styles would also be a good program as well. But I don't know if they should do this. They can do this. I mean, before the draft in one of the Raw episode. Yeah, but I don't know. Let's see how it goes. But maybe we could see this week or next week. But then else we could see Styles getting drafted to this week's SmackDown, which is the beginning of the draft. So that was kind of a question I have in the mind. So. The match itself was very fun. Nothing but the Peacock had so much of issue, man. In this whole stream, actually, I have a lot of issues in the stream, and it's just like that. Nothing to say, man. That's another thing. But again, this match was very fun. We get to the next match, SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso, the Usos versus the Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, the Street Profits actually, and this match was also fun. Nothing very different, I would say. We have seen these two tag teams matches so many times, so it wasn't very new. But this was also really fun match that I actually liked it. And Street Profits actually had lot of great moments in this match where they kind of had me hope that maybe they could win, and they have the performance very well, and it was a really good match. And we know that how much of a good really well-oiled machine kind of tag teams they are, and they really worked it out very well. Great chemistry actually, and I like this match. And the matches were good in the beginning actually, I would say that, and it was in the good range, really fun range, enjoyable kind of stuff. And Jimmy Uso, in the ending of this match, we saw Jimmy tagged in. Uso went for the double super kick, but Dawkins actually pushed Ford out of the way and took the super kicks for his friend. And Ford has a hopping spot, but the Usos came right back with a double super kick and then a double rope splash, and that was nice. At a cool way to end the match, and they continue the reign. So we weren't expecting kind of a tag team title change here. The Bloodline is in the upper echelon right now, so they are not going to lose the match. So it was really fun tag team title match, I would say. We get to the Raw Women's title match next, Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss. I would say this is one of the matches that was a very I mean, a good match for Alexa Bliss after in this character. Actually, I'm not a very big fan of this character. I know that there are many casual fans and kids that love Alexa Bliss and this whole doll thing and all, and it's sometimes kind of interesting, but ever since, I would say, this is the moment where actually it gone downhill. Ever since Bray Wyatt actually left it, this storyline, whole storyline, is being like overlooked, and it's not interesting for me, at least, I would say. But again, this match, I would say, very back and forth match, and really got offenses from both of them, and really surprising kind of attitude or the character that was being shown by Alexa Bliss. No such shenanigans that Bliss does, like doll thing that she didn't do that. And very it was like Alexa Bliss was this is a story actually. Alexa Bliss was trying to, as much as possible, to have the upper hand on Charlotte Flair, but every time she comes and she just cuts off. That was the story here, and the heel tactics. Flair is the heel here, so she actually performed that character very very well, and it was also a good back and forth match, pretty good to good, near good, I would say. And yeah, and very I would say that in this ending, it was the ending of this match. We saw Flair actually toss Bliss to ringside, and then she had the Lily doll, and was just saying that she would tear it apart, and Flair held up a Flair actually thrown off the that doll, Lily doll, and that kind of had distraction, and then hit a big boot, and then hit a natural selection on the way when she was going for the twisted Bliss. So I think so. This is the end of the Alexa Bliss this gimmick. I think so. I really wanted that goddess gimmick, the goddess Alexa Bliss back, and that's the one Alexa Bliss. That's the one where Bliss actually put on great matches, pay per view after pay per view, show after show actually, and she was really good in that character. This actually had, I mean, got her opportunity to have to show the other side of that she can do this type of character as well, and she actually have done pretty well, I would say, when she was with Bray Wyatt. But when Bray Wyatt left, actually, this gimmick isn't working for me. I know the storyline is it's just like that character that isn't doing anything, just another kind of character, like yeah. So yeah, that's what I want to say. And in the ending, Charlotte Flair wasn't done with, because she ripped off Lily doll, and quite uh, very strongly, and yeah, she was a stupid doll, and then Bliss kind of started moaning in, and good way, a cool way to. I mean, this that emotion, the storytelling was nice, and a perfect ending, I would say, if they are going to break her from this character to and just converting into the goddess character. I do wanted to see a goddess Alexa Bliss was a Charlotte Flair man. That's a match that I am very looking forward to, and let's see if they are going to. But let's see if they're going to turn her up, or they're going to continue, because these kids, the merchandise sale is certainly up, and she's really over as well as in this character. And yeah, so that's what I want to say into this match. We get to the next match: Damian Priest versus Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy, triple threat for the US Championship, and this was also a really good match that I thought about. Yeah, hard hitting match. That was fun to watch, I would say, and yeah, it had a lot of action. Pacing was good, and yeah, what you could expect from these three guys. And it wasn't like a very they didn't go into something extreme, like Jeff Hardy told in the bump episode that he's going to use chairs and all, but they didn't use it. Nonetheless, they didn't used it actually, and that was kind of a bummer for me. I thought about if they would have made this a ladder match, that would have been great. But anyways, they didn't happen, and a lot of cool moves of Sheamus and Hardy, kind of having that opportunist kind of character that he's playing. Every time Damien Priest, Sheamus have they are fighting, and out of nowhere Jeff Hardy comes and kind of have this opportunity to shine, and that was cool, and that was out of nowhere kind of thing. And yeah, there was point which Jeff Hardy was kind of having to steal the victory when Sheamus hit the kick to Damien Priest, and then there was a moment when Sheamus actually was going for Damien Priest. Sheamus was going for Jeff Hardy actually, and then Jeff Hardy actually he grabbed Sheamus by the throat. He shoved Sheamus to ringside and covered Priest for the near fall in the ending. And Sheamus returned to the ring then and blasted Hardy with a bro kick, and that created an opportunity for Priest. Rolled up Sheamus and pinned him. I think that wasn't a very good booking for Priest to have a roll up victory. Could They could have solidified him as a great, I mean, as the United States champion again, like having a clean victory on him. I don't think so this is going to be over. Maybe we could see Sheamus as a Demon Priest continuing in the next pay-per-view, and I may be wrong as well. Maybe Sheamus will get drafted to SmackDown as well. I for one, I would say that I'm done with this rivalry. They should move on, and Demon Priest should move on to new challenges. Yeah, I think so. That's what my opinion and lookout is. I would say really a good match, I would say, and I like the match, enjoyable match. Yeah. And we get to the next match: Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. If Man, this match was the match of the night for me so far. When I was watching this pay-per-view, I was kind of certainly sure that Reigns vs Balor would be kind of having more of an importance. The match of maybe that could match would be a match of the night. But man, this both of the matches, I mean, didn't have that thing. And yeah, I mean, Reigns versus the Demon King was the one who actually took that thing, that match of the night kind of spot, I would say. This match was great. I mean, the Becky Lynch character and the Bianca Belair character and the storytelling that they had in this match was near perfect, excellent actually. And they go to close to 20 minutes where Becky Lynch actually used his every opportunity, and her heel character very well displayed very well, and trying to pin Bianca Belair and showing the frustration very perfectly. Bianca Belair also having that power advantage, that quickness, speed that she was into this match. That was cool to see, and the chemistry was really perfect, man. Very nice, I would say, and I was enjoying this match. I was very invested into this match. But man, Sasha Banks returned, and it was cool. It was great to see Banks return, I would say. But it's like again, man, when they did the SummerSlam thing, the 26 seconds thing with Becky Lynch, yeah, and then they did this again with Sasha Banks, ruining a very great match. And I didn't like that thing. Maybe they could have done it after the match or post match, just have a clear ending or something. I would have not be like a Bianca Belair win or Becky Lynch win. Becky Lynch was my prediction, obviously, but it was the one Sasha Banks return, and she actually attacked Bianca Belair first, and then she was kind of having a face off with Becky Lynch. Kind of, they were kind of having a thumbs up, but she didn't care about it. Sasha Banks attacked Becky Lynch, so that makes it that they decided to turn face for Becky Lynch, and that's a good idea that they did, because Becky Lynch is getting cheered, very largely cheered, that she should be booed actually, and but she is getting cheered. So glad they did it. So now there's two faces and one heel. Sasha Banks is a heel, and yeah, that's what I think. And maybe they're going to do number one contenders match or something. That's what I see. Or maybe they could go for the triple threat match, and I think so. The simple decision I would maybe that one of the SmackDown episode we could see Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks again. and giving away that match in a TV manner. That would be great for the ratings as well. And then Sasha Banks getting the victory, and then Sasha versus Becky storyline going forward. That's the one I think so maybe going, because I think so maybe they are going to create Charlotte versus Becky or Charlotte versus Sasha at Survivor Series. So both of them are big matches. So hopefully I think so Bianca Belair then we would be moving to Raw with Street Profits as well. I think so. That's the direction that they are going into. That's the thing that I'm feeling right now. So very very great match, entertaining, very enjoyable, and one of the match I really liked. Apart from that finish, like omitting that finish, this was the match that I really loved the wrestling in this match. And we get to the next match: Roman Reigns versus Demon Balor, Demon King, in an Extreme Rules match. This match began in the normal way, I would say, and there wasn't some kind of high spots or something. Normal kind of Roman Reigns and Finn Balor stuff that we see, but the fear and the fury and the rage that this character has, that was really into this. Bring into this match actually by Balor, and liked about it. And it kind of was climbing up the mountain, kind of. That's the nature that this match was going on. And this match began with kind of a slow, yet it was going in a normal pace, and then it go into a brutal kind of stuff where there were tables breaking. There are brutal spear as well by Balor, and Balor looked very fantastic, man. They really booked Balor very very, I mean, Demon King, very very well. And yeah, and very very powerful against Roman Reigns. And as much as I hated, actually, as much as I don't like, I should say this, like Demon King is not getting a surprise, it's not surpassing Roman Reigns by winning the Universal Champion. But there was a slight kind of a hope that maybe, just maybe, he could get the victory, and the lot of fans excitement and all to this match kind of created kind of hope. And they really told that hope story very very well, I would say. And till the ending, I would say it was imminent kind of thing that Roman Reigns is going to retain. But there was a slight kind of thing, maybe, just maybe, Demon Balor pulling off this thing would be fantastic, man. That would be shocking element of this paper, because till now there was nothing in this paper, kind of a oh my god kind of thing. So that's the thing. And this match was really great, I would say. And but not at the level of Reigns Edge match or Reigns Cena match, I would say. But a great match that had a great performance by both of them, and lot of brutal stuff, I mean, the best good moves that both of them uses. And there was also a point in this match where Usos actually pulled out another table to set for the floor, where they actually interrupted when he hit the coup de grace. So that kind of was also an opportunity to Balor to get the victory. So they were kind of really telling that Balor it would have been the champion if Usos should have not been interfered. And then I thought about Brock Lesnar would be coming, but no, it was. And then there was also crowd kind of thing as well. They go to crowd as well, they performed at some table spots as well. That was cool as well. And the best spot I thought about was the that announced table spot for the Usos as well as the Roman Reigns pair. And then it was interesting, because the demon heartbeat sounds, the lights kind of started to flicker around, and that was a very cool and a supernatural kind of thing. And that really was very cool, man, to see that thing. And the demon actually rose up and he kind of resurrected, as they said. And demon beat Reigns a hell out of a chair and drop him onto that looked perfect, man. Roman Reigns just fall onto the table, onto the table, like water falling off. That was great, just broke it up. And the top rope, he just going to top rope, setting up the finisher, the coup de grace. And then the top rope broke up. I don't know how you guys feel. I would say that WWE actually really booked this match smartly. They didn't give a very predictable kind of thing, because what was the predictable kind of thing? Brock Lesnar returning and demolishing Finn Balor or Roman Reigns or both of them. That's the thing that all were expecting. But no one expected this, even though this is a weird thing and this is WWE have never done kind of. So this would and this is also very hard to understand, like people are saying 190 pounds of guy, and just bringing up of that rope is just unnatural and is not believable. And I do understand that, but I just want to comment that I didn't even I would say that I didn't felt like this was going to happen. At that thing, I would say that WWE did quite a good job into that. And there's another point as well: Demon King getting buried or something, or that was the feeling that I actually also felt. But I actually tried to compose myself and tried to think myself like, when this paper we got, and I was very pissed that Demon King got, and I was very certain that Roy Reigns was going to get the victory. But Demon King getting the loss was kind of hit my heart. Kind of, he's my one of my favorite dark. He's one of my favorite character, man. He's one of my favorite wrestler in WWE. So, and he's one of the dark character that WWE has, because this no dark characters in Bray Wyatt is gone. So that was the only hope that they had. So yeah. So next Undertaker or something they were kind of tipping to, but man, I would say that. That was kind of there, but Reigns then hit the spear in the ending, and that actually ended the match. And the Roman Reigns just looked up to the looked up to the uh, top, and just like God saved him kind of thing. And really God saved him. This would have been a very big escape for Roman Reigns, and this was nothing like John Cena or Edge, I would say. And they really put on a great booking for Demon King Balor, I would say that. And they really actually used him as much as believable as possible to kind of create an hope that he may be getting the victory. But then we know that WWE is making Roman Reigns the god like champion. I don't know what's next for Roman Reigns, and I really hope that Balor took that spot and is not injured or something, is very well. And I really hope that he goes on to some good things, man. Maybe in SmackDown or Raw, I don't care, but he goes to good things. I just don't go for any lower mid card rivalries or into a 24/7 thing or something. Who knows, man? WWE does has that as well. I don't want to see that, but yeah, that would be a very pretty difficult for me to say. But Roman Reigns, who's gonna dethrone him? I don't know, man. The only option I see is Brock Lesnar. This is the thing, man. Demon King is one of the powerful character of WWE, and they actually booked him as much as powerful as they can. And then actually they also booked as an undefeated. He's undefeated guy, even though Samoa Joe actually beaten Finn Balor, I mean Demon King, at NXT, but that was long before, and that was NXT. So they are not counting on that. They don't count the reigns as well of the NXT championships as well. So speaking about that, if you're talking about main roster, he's undefeated. So I do think that I do think that Finn Balor, I mean Demon King, could have been the one who actually dethroned Roman Reigns. He's a perfect contender, actually, more than Brock Lesnar, and he's a he's a he's a star as well. And they could, but they he's not Brock Lesnar. He don't have a big physique like the big guys that Vince looks. That's a matter they actually have. WWE has always have in their mind. So that's only the thing. But it's not like you haven't seen skinny type of guys holding on to the Universal Championship. Like we have seen Seth Rollins as the champion a lot of times, and he had done that job very pretty well. And but Brock Lesnar defeating Roman Reigns, I don't want Brock Lesnar to defeat Roman Reigns, but I will say at my prediction that maybe Brock Lesnar should defeat Roman Reigns. Then this is a kind of a mixed kind of thing when I think so, because I do think if they are going to have the Rock thing, but Rock I mean, bringing back the Rock. Are they going to? Is the Rock going to win the match? I don't know. But what's the plan? I don't know. What's the end game of Roman Reigns? I don't know. Or is there? Are they going with WrestleMania till WrestleMania or something? Kind of completing a big reign. And then there's another chance is Seth Rollins. That's the only thing that I think so. Maybe could be defeating Roman Reigns, and these two guys, Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins, are the two guys I think maybe beating. I don't think so. Drew McIntyre have not been in SmackDown, so I don't know if I can envision that. I can vision that. I don't know, but man, I don't know, guys, who's gonna defeat Roman Reigns. But this was Extreme Rules, guys. Review and play. Make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe to my channel for more wrestling reviews like this. And to let me know your thoughts on this Extreme Rules pay-per-view and how you felt of this pay-per-view and how would you score this pay-per-view and what was one of the match of the night of this pay-per-view. This was a really good solid show, I would say, enjoyable. That's a pay I would define this pay-per-view. Nowhere around Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, and Brock showing up would have been kind of better after the match or something, kind of getting into that storyline, but they didn't do it. That was it, guys. I hope you liked my review. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, be safe, stay energetic, and peace.